So how do we sell? What is selling, and what is the right way to go about selling? Those are some very important questions that sales managers and owners of sales organizations have been asking for years. Is there one thing you can do to ensure your success in selling? And the answer is yes, there is. Okay, today we're going to look at something that was originally developed by Simon Sinek. He's a great, he's a great speaker. He speaks about a lot of different things, and this is one of the things he speaks about. And it's called the Golden Circle. All right. So it's very important. Pay attention to this. If you're following along, then be sure to write it down. The Golden Circle. Every company knows what they do. Some know how they do it, but very few know why they do what they do. So again, I'll say that again. Every company knows what they do. Some know how they do it, but very few know why they do. And when I say why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's always a result. That's not a why. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Okay? So most companies communicate one way, from the outside in. Okay, they communicate from the what to the why. All right, that's how a lot of unsuccessful companies communicate. So how does a successful company communicate? Well, it's found in our biology, not our psychology, as Simon Sinek will tell you, but in our biology. Because if you take a cross section of the human brain and you cut it in half, you're going to actually see that it looks similar to this right here. Okay, and the reason it looks similar is very simple. You have your outer part of the brain, which is the neocortex, right? And this part of the brain actually controls or actually processes language, information, things like that. However, it does not control decision making. It does not give you gut feelings, and it cannot control any of your decisions for you. Well, this part of the brain here, the innermost part of the brain, is called, you have to forgive me if I'm spelling this wrong, the limbic brain. Now the limbic brain controls your decision making. It controls action. Now here's the funny part. It has no capacity for language, communication, information, things like that. It has no capacity for that whatsoever. All right? So how do we communicate to the part of the brain that directly influences action, that directly influences decision making? How do we do that? Well, it's very simple. All we have to do is reverse the order and the way we communicate. All right? Let's take a look at a company that does this and does this very successfully, that company being Apple. Why is Apple so amazing? Why do they have so many sales? I mean, they're just a computer company. Aren't the other computer companies out there just as qualified to make computers as they are? Of course. So why do we love Apple so much? Why do people wait in line 6 hours to buy a new iPhone when they can walk into the store and buy it off the shelf the next day? Well, it's the way they communicate. All right? They don't communicate from the outside in, they communicate from the inside out. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. If Apple communicated the wrong way, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. Our computers are beautifully designed, crafted, user-friendly, easy to use. Want to buy one? And you may, some might, but that's not how Apple communicates. The way Apple communicates is in the reverse. They start with a why, all right? They start with a belief, and then they work their way out. Here's how a message from Apple really sounds. In everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. We do that by making computers that are easy to use, beautifully crafted, user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. See, now you want to buy a computer from me. Completely different approach, completely different marketing aspect, okay? All they did was reverse the order. I really highly recommend you watch Simon Sinek Start With Why. He goes into much more detail about this and can explain things in a greater aspect than I can. So, again, they communicate from the inside out. They start with why. They start with their belief. They start with, how they're so innovative. They start with how they want to think differently, how they want to be outside the box. cause. And if you're that type of person, you need to join their cause. So how do we communicate like that in the security industry? How do we communicate like that to customers when we're at their door pitching? How do we communicate a message like that in a short amount of time that we have? Well, it's simple. We hear we hear objections every day of our life when we go out with security sales. We hear objections every single day. It's how we respond to them that can either A, influence decision making from the customer as to buy, or B, we just talk to their neocortex. Some will buy and some won't. So how do we give them that gut feeling that this is a good decision? How do we push them to make the sell without being overbearing, pushy, and making them hate us? How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We communicate from the inside out. We start with why. So let's say, for example, a customer tells me I'm not interested. Well, I could say, well, I understand you're not interested in the security system, but this isn't just a security system. This is a virtual security guard. This is a life safety system. This can protect you from fire, medical, and burglary. So it's not just burglary. I understand you're not interested in security, but it's much more than that. Let's take just a few minutes. I'll sit down with you, and we'll kind of go from there. So that's one way you can approach an objection for I'm not interested. Talk about the product, all right? But when you do that, you're again marketing, selling from the outside in. So how do we sell from the inside out? Well, we try to portray an emotion. By portraying an emotion, we're immediately talking to the limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision making. So here's how a response to that should sound. So they tell me I'm not interested. Here's what I would say. Look, I understand how you feel. A lot of people have felt that way before, but what they found is, what I'm about to go over with you is really help them see the value in this. I'm going to go into a personal story with you right now. And by the way, guys, this is a true story. My brother had 2 kids. Marcus Tyler Powell, who was 4, and Colby Dylan Powell, who was 2. I begged him to get an ADT system. He was a big Georgia macho guy. He didn't need a system. He wasn't interested either. Well, one morning his kids got a broom, popped the latch on the door, snuck out the front door. They jumped in the neighbor's pool, and we lost them both in one day. Now, I can't say for 100% certainty if he had an ADT system, something tragic like that wouldn't still happen. But I can definitely, state that the chances of that not happening, if he had that, are greatly higher. It would increase substantially. So what I'm trying to tell you is that, look, tragedies happen every day. To you, to your family, to me. You never know who will be next. But tragedies happen every day. And if my brother had a time machine, he'd go back in time and he'd listen to me. He'd get this. Well, unfortunately, time machines don't exist. But today, I could be your time machine. Totally different. That's totally different. That's how you should market this. That's what's going to separate someone from who does 3-4 sales a week to 10-15 sales a week. That's what's going to be the driving difference. That's going to be the force to be reckoned with. Talking to the limbic brain. Okay? So you want to try to, involve emotion when you're responding to these objections. You'll see a lot of security salespeople, they'll do the redirection, they'll handle the objection, get right back on the pitch, things like that. And that's good, they'll make sales that way. I'm not saying that's a bad approach. What I'm saying is if you incorporate that emotion, if you start with why, your possibilities will be endless. So let's look at a famous failure, TiVo. All right, we all know what TiVo is. We TiVo stuff all the time. We use it as a verb. I TiVo this, I TiVo that. But TiVo's never really made money. Why? Well, their marketing approach. When they came to the market, they hands down had the best market, or they had the best product on the market. And the recipe for success should have been great. But they marketed their product in a wrong fashion. They said, we have a product that rewinds live TV and pauses live television. It memorizes your viewing habits without you even asking it to. Want to buy one? Well, the cynical majority of the population said, we don't believe you, you're scaring us, no thanks. And they never made money. Now, let's listen to their marketing approach if it was reversed. If you're the type of person that likes to have complete control over every aspect of your life, boy, do we have a product for you. Memorizes your viewing habits without you even asking it to. Pauses live TV. Rewinds through live television. Even skips through commercials. Want to buy one? Different. Completely different. So we need to focus on speaking to the part of the brain that controls decision making, the part of the brain that controls that action, the limbic brain. We need to talk to that. We can also state that the limbic brain may be a form of our subconscious mind. So instead of getting an objection and breaking the customer down, we all say they put up a brick wall as soon as they open the door. Well, that's very true. And most salespeople, they chip away that brick wall, piece by piece by piece by piece. However, if you speak to the limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision making, you can find that one weak brick that's holding up that foundation. You can pull it out, and the whole wall will crumble. Thanks.